here we go. NHL today, right here on SportsGrid, our weekly look around the National Hockey League. Mike Carver here with you, and we have made it through the regular season. It's over. The long grind, the Stanley Cup Playoffs begin this weekend. We're going to go through all the matchups, all the series, all the prices, everything you need. Look at that. The whole tree for you right there with the great SportsGrid graphics as we get ready for the best time of the year, the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. And since we do have so much to do, we're even going to put our man Dave Sharapan, the sportsbook consigliere, to extra work today. A double shift for him as we preview the first round of the playoffs. Dave, great to see you, as always, my man. And it is time. We love this. Guys like me and you and the hockey fans, hockey bettors. There's nothing like the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Great to see you as well. Yeah, you break out all of the, the gear, the run in the spring to the cup. It's the best. I mean, I love football season. Don't get me wrong. And baseball playoffs are really close to this, but this is the best thing. This is just 2 months of grinding nonstop. Sometimes it's a little bit extra than 2 months, but can't get enough of it. These numbers fluctuate. There's things that happen. Injuries are never disclosed. We're getting ready for the upper body injury report, Mike, and everything else. So I can't wait.
And you got a real significant one, as we'll talk about in this Colorado-Dallas series, of course, with Robertson the other night. And he's, as we're talking now, I mean, he wasn't at practice here on Friday afternoon. So I would guess you're going to get a lot of up-in-the-air stuff with him as we get closer. All right, I want to start with the West, actually, Dave, because honestly, I think that there's more intriguing matchups in the West. I think you've got some big rivalries. You got a lot of things in the Western Conference that really stick out to me. Now, only 2 series start Saturday. Now, this is the NHL for you. It is what it is. I guess they didn't want the teams that played Thursday to only have 1 day off. So, you couldn't get any East teams like Tampa or Washington, etc. in there. So only 2 series are going to start Saturday. 3 start on Sunday. The rest on Monday. And then Tampa and Florida don't start till Tuesday. They're not playing game 1, 2, which is absolutely nonsense. But it is what it is. Dave, let's start with Winnipeg and St. Louis. They'll play game 1 on Saturday night. We know the story here. President's Trophy's been a curse. Last team to win the Cup with the President's Trophy was the Blackhawks in 12-13. I think it's only 8 teams in the last 35 years or some ridiculous stat like that. It's very hard to do President's Trophy. Winnipeg wins it, and they get the team in St. Louis that has been hot over the last couple of months. Binnington, of course. Hellebuck's had his problems in the playoffs. Binnington's won a Cup. Interesting first-round matchup, Dave.
Very interesting. And I don't know if it's the best case scenario for Winnipeg. I mean, what St. Louis did to get to this point and get into playoffs, awesome. Maybe not such a great stretch that, the last couple games, but they got this guy in net. He's won the Cup. And Winnipeg has nothing but questions. So I think this is an extended series. I think it might be what's known in the business as a homer series, meaning the home team wins pretty much every game, and we get this thing stretched out to a minimum of 6, maybe 7 games. I don't think this price might surprise me. And I think it's sometimes the hockey prices don't surprise you because the odds makers, the seeds don't matter. 8s can beat 1s. 2s can beat 7s can beat 2s. This one surprised me. This was a little heavy in my eyes.
Yeah, minus 225 for the series for Winnipeg. And I get it. They were the best team in the regular season. But, I don't think that they've warranted, from their past couple of years, this group with Hellebuck is not warranted being that big of a favorite, especially against a goalie who's won a Cup. That's the thing for me. A goalie who's won a Cup on the other side. Now, I do think Winnipeg finds a way, Dave. I don't think Winnipeg's going to go down here to St. Louis in the first round. But I agree with you on this aspect. They could make it a little tough on them here in this opening round series and make them think about it a little bit. I think Minnesota's the team everybody wanted if you talk about the top. I think that was the matchup that everybody was kind of hoping for whether you were Winnipeg or Vegas in the West. The other series in that Central Division is, of course, this monster Colorado-Dallas series. And, man, I know Jason Robertson is a great player, Dave, but I was very surprised how much things moved off of this series by him getting injured. This series was Colorado was a very slight favorite when they first put the odds out a couple nights ago, and now it's dropped completely to the point where I've got up to this very second with Colorado minus 152, Dallas plus 126. And then you saw Dallas, who was favored in the West, drop to fifth in the West on those odds boards. Big movements, Dave.
Huge. Again, I think Colorado should be favored, all things being equal. They split the first two games, go home, hold home ice, and then it kind of goes from there. That's the way it looks. Dallas is having a complete mess going into the playoffs. Would they lose 7 in a row to finish the season? Couldn't find anything that made them be the odds-on favorite before all of that, and then the injury news. This is a bit strange. As much as the other one surprised me, with Winnipeg being such a big favorite, I think the line is closer to being right now. I thought it was a little, shaded a little bit light when it first came out. So Colorado being a favorite makes more sense. This would be an over series, meaning games more likely to go over, I think, than the first series we just talked about. The Winnipeg-St. Louis is going to be a lot of unders. They're going to look different. But, man, Colorado is, along with Vegas now, one of the teams to beat odds-wise in the West. They are now officially the odds-on favorite.
Look, I get it. I like this Colorado team a lot. There's one Achilles heel with them. I don't trust their goaltending, Dave, and you know that.
I don't know if they do, Mikey.
They don't. Now, they pulled this off a couple years ago. They won with questionable goaltending, so I guess they think that they can do it again. But there's a big goaltending edge in my eyes, obviously, with Dallas over Colorado in this series. I mean, you're going to try to get yourself all the way to the end with the immortal Mackenzie Blackwood. Yeah, I just don't like that.
Right.
That's what makes me nervous with Colorado. Yeah. I think they find a way, Dave, but I'm actually going to probably play, and I like playing the crazy stuff. We'll play this series to go 7 games. I think it's going to go 7 games, Colorado and Dallas. About plus 190, plus 200, right in that area. I think I'm going to go there.
What's the favorite in that? Is it 6?
The favorite
Colorado
right now for that, for that series, let me bust that up for you real fast. We could move fast here for this.
Yeah.
Exact games, 6 plus 190, 7 plus 195, and then obviously 5 and 4 are going to be some heavy long shots in that. But they are predicting 6 games for you.
Would Colorado being a favorite, Game 6 would be the number one choice, odds-wise. That's how we make that number. So,
especially since they'll have it in their building, too. That 6th game would be in Colorado, going over on that side. All right, we have a couple more in the West, and as we said, everybody wanted Minnesota because I think Minnesota stinks. Let's be fair here, and I think this sets up very nicely for Vegas, who honestly, Dave, I don't think is getting talked about enough because I think there's going to be an upset in the other series there in the Pacific. I think that the Kings, we'll talk about, are going to take out Edmonton. And I think that could set up very nicely for Vegas to get themselves back into the Western Conference Finals. We'll find out what Dave thinks when we come back. Dave Sharapan with us, NHL Today. We're going through the NHL playoffs, round 1, Stanley Cup playoffs, baby, starts on Saturday. NHL Today on the Grid. We're back after this.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
I'm still optimistic eventually this will happen and they'll get it together. I mean, if Florida can get their act together, Sam, with the tribes, I believe that California can too.
Would bring a lot of money to the tribe, which is also something they really care about. It's an $8 billion market conservatively. It could be even more when it legalizes. The sports books would be sharing revenue with the tribes, essentially doing all their operations and forking over a percentage directly to the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC. That is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
And we are back. NHL Today right here on SportsGrid. Mike Carver here with you. Dave Sharapan along with me, the Sportsbook Consigliere, as we get ready for the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. All right, Dave, I was saying going into the break, Vegas gets Minnesota. Honestly, Dave, there isn't much resistance here from me. I usually like trying to get series to go 6 and 7 games. I don't see it here. I'd actually play Vegas in either a sweep or 5. I think they're going to take care of business.
Agree with you 100%. The storyline of this is the Vegas fans get to see Fleury off one more time in the building. Wave goodbye and wave goodbye to the Wild and move on. I think the matchup is perfect.
And I love this play, and I'll give you a little preview now. It's going to be in my end of the show plays for the series, but I love the Game 1 series parlays always. I love playing those.
Yep. Instead
of paying that big price on Vegas, you can get Vegas Game 1 series parlay at -110.
Oh,
I mean, I think that they're at home Game 1. They're going to jump. That's as good as it can get when you get a Game 1 series parlay. All right, this is the series I think that is out for blood in the West, along with Dallas and Colorado. And that's the Kings and Edmonton. Edmonton, they're playing fourth straight year. They're playing in the playoffs. Edmonton beats them every single year. This year, the Kings have home ice. This year, the Kings are the better team going in. This year, Edmonton has got injuries up and down the lineup. Edmonton still has no goalie, and they're the team, Dave, that I always say, I think it's impossible. Florida really bucked the trend last year. It is so hard to come all the way back after losing in the Stanley Cup Finals. And you're already seeing it to them. They are broken down. Draisaitl hasn't played. He's going to play Game 1. McDavid's been out and out of the lineup. They're missing Ekholm. They're missing this guy. This is the year. The Kings are finally going to get him, Dave.
I think you're right. I really do. I think you're right. I agree with you. The Kings were monsters at home all season. They have home ice advantage. They're a dog in the series. Again, the price should be pick 'em. And, I mean, if you let them bet Edmonton to be the favorite, that's fine. Now, the reason why this moves like this is because I guess people that make limit plays like Edmonton to win the first game. So they're getting ahead of it with the price. They're laying it because, if Edmonton wins Game 1, they become the favorite. They have home ice going forward. So that's where that line move comes. But I'm with you, Mike. LA, Vegas, second round matchup. Sounds pretty good for Vegas in that regard, too.
It sounds good for Vegas, and honestly, it sets up nice. And you look right now, Vegas has moved up to the second choice. They're plus 430 to win the West. I like Vegas right now. I really do. I think the path is really good. because I think whoever they play on the other side, the winner of that Colorado-Dallas series, let's say they get to the West Final. How many games and how many tough games have they played up to that point? And maybe going through Winnipeg as well. Like, I just feel like Vegas is going to have themselves set up in such a nice way that they can get there. So that's going to be something to look forward to, too. All right, Eastern Conference, Dave. Any resistance, Montreal, Washington? Do you think Washington takes care of them no problem?
It's fantastic that the Blue, Blanc, and Rouge are back in the playoffs, but they win game 3. No matter what happens, Mike, they are winning game 3. That might be the only game they win.
So gentleman sweep, the 5-gamer. The gentleman sweep, we think. I'm with you. I think gentleman sweep for Washington as well in that one. A lot of people have basically called New Jersey and Carolina over. No point in playing. Carolina's already won the series. You believe that?
It's hard to argue. As beat up and stuff as the Devils are, I really don't feel like they're going to provide much resistance. And I know some guys who took a position with Carolina weeks ago based on this being the first round matchup. We've known this matchup has been set for what seems like a month. Yeah. And it feels like this is going to be a short series. Easy one for Carolina.
Toronto gets the top slot in the Atlantic. Imperative for them. They now play Ottawa in the first round. They avoid Tampa and Florida. And if they get to play them in the second, they'd have home ice. They're minus 184. I actually think they should be big. They should be 2 bills, Dave, in this series, but they're not because they're Toronto with their past history. I think that they'll probably make it hard on themselves for a couple games. It'll take 6, but I think they'll get it done.
Toronto's got to be so happy that Boston's not in the playoffs to beat them because that seems like what happens, right? And now Florida and Tampa have to play each other and not Toronto in the first round. I'm falling for it again. I'm falling for it again. I think Toronto has every opportunity to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think this sets up perfect. Now, there's a Kachuk on Ottawa. I don't know what he's going to do. They're not even in the first 5 of winning the East. I don't think they can win the East, but they can make this series difficult. I still think Toronto wins.
I think Toronto wins too. I know that it's fun to go after the Leafs, but like we were saying with Vegas, like there's a really good path for Toronto to possibly finally break this and get back to the Stanley Cup final. I love the Tampa Bay Florida series. I think it's the best Eastern Conference series, obviously in the first round. 2 more teams that hate each other. They play every year in the playoffs. Florida has had this great run, and you know what, Dave? It's over. I think Tampa's going to take care of Florida and knock them out.
It's ironic. We saw this a couple years ago when Tampa had the run, right? They play a lot of hockey in a couple years, and it finally catches up when they have to play that nasty physical rival who knows exactly what they're going to do. I think it may just be a battle of attrition, and Tampa's withstands it. I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, I don't have a strong opinion sidewise. I just feel like most of the games in this series are going to go over because we're going to see power plays, penalties, all kind of stuff happening. Stay on the edge of your seat. There'll be a lot of in-game opportunities. It'll be great.
7 games for me here. 7 games. And 7 games and 6 games have the same number, plus 190. They're both plus 190, 6 and 7 games.
Fair.
In this series.
Because if Tampa gets one on the road, they can win the series at home in game 6. So I would absolutely agree with that price. It's either 6 or 7. I don't think there's a chance in hell it's 4 or 5.
Who do you like coming out of the East? Toronto?
As of right now, I think it is Toronto, and I want to believe it's Washington, but everybody tells me no. And in the West, it's Vegas and
Toronto,
whoever
Vegas?
Survives. Yeah.
Toronto, Vegas, maybe? Stanley Cup final? Wow, people would get excited about that. Dave, tremendous job as always. Dave Sharapan, the Sportsbook and Single Air. NHL Today. We're back after this.
Fantasy baseball. Let's be honest, George. There's a lot of things antiquated about this game that we love. Man, like I would love to try some new little wrinkles here. And so for Sam's question here on the show, I think it's at least fair to ask the question, with catchers in fantasy baseball, and sometimes we're playing in 2 catcher leagues, why at this stage of the game? I have no idea. If you're still doing it, you're behind in the times. Buy or sell, catchers should get a fantasy point for throwing out runners trying to steal. So essentially awarding a defensive play to get an offensive point in fantasy. You gonna buy or sell this?
I mean, so this never even crossed my mind. I hate the catcher position because they get hurt so much. You play in a 2 catcher league, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like, what are we doing here? There are not 24, assuming a 12-team league, there are not 24 catchers to draft in baseball. There's just not. Although I'm the first person to tell you, Herrera's probably out there in a bunch of leagues there because we didn't see that power coming. Should he get a point? I think if you're going to do this, by the way, why a point? What are you throwing out? 1, 2 base runners a week? It's 2 points. Who cares? You know, shouldn't it be more? I mean, if we're going to do this, shouldn't we do it right? Shouldn't it be 5 points? You know, so I would probably go that direction. If you're going to do it right. Give it more points. And by the way, then let's go further. You make an error, you're losing points. No one gets an error anymore. All right, if you get an error, it means you really screwed up. I was watching that Yankee-Pittsburgh game yesterday because I think it was who cares? Somebody hit the ball hard to Isaiah Felifa at shortstop. He didn't have to move, but he dropped it. They called it a hit because he hit the ball hard with 3-hopper. Oh, hard hit, error. So let's do that too. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with this, but you need more than one. It can't just be a point that's meaningless. You need more than one.
Fantasy sports today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
And we are back. NHL today, right here on SportsGrid. Mike Carver here with you. Great job by Dave there as we get you ready for the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Game 1's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and yes, even Tuesday. Florida and Tampa have to wait too before they drop the puck in that series. All right, it's Final 5 time on NHL today. Of course, we usually give you bunch of props for tonight's games, future, etc. Well, it's playoff time. There's no games tonight. They start this weekend. So instead, we're going to give you like a final 8. I'm going to give you one prop I like from every series. One for each series. Let's try to get it going here for the first round of the playoffs. All right, Winnipeg, first up. Talk to Dave about it. I think that St. Louis can give them some resistance in this series, but I don't think it goes 7. And I do think that Winnipeg is going to find a way. So I'm going to play Winnipeg on the series spread, minus a game and a half. That means they got to win in 6, 5, or 4. Minus 105 for that. Better than paying that big, enormous price for Winnipeg, which is probably too big. So I will lay the series price, minus 105. Next, I said this to Dave already, so you heard it, but I love these Game 1 series parlays that you can play. And I think that Vegas is going to clean out Minnesota in this series. So instead of paying the big price with Vegas, let's take them to win Game 1 and win the series, minus $110. You drop it all the way down for them to do that. So minus 110, Vegas Game 1 and series parlay. Also kind of laid the tracks on this one too. At Dallas and Colorado to go 7 games in their series, plus $190 for that. I think this will be a war. I think it will be back and forth. I think Robertson, no Robertson, I don't care. Dallas and Colorado to go the distance at plus $190. And my last one in the West, you heard it too. I think the Kings are going to take Edmonton down. Straight up, plus 110. Kings to win the series. You want to get crazy? You think Edmonton might win Game 1? It's like plus 500 for that series, Game 1 series parlay. Edmonton to win the first game, Kings to win the series. You want to get crazy with stuff like that, go ahead and be my guest. I'm keeping it very simple. I'm taking the Kings to go and win the series. As far as the East goes, I got a little crazier with some of these. Toronto and Ottawa series, I went to a player prop market because they haven't put them up for every series yet, and I do generally like to play a few of these. Austin Matthews to score the most goals in the Ottawa-Toronto series is plus 340. I'll go there with that. Now, look, Nylander's a little bit further out. He's obviously scored a ton of goals this year as well. But I think Matthews against, let's just be honest here, no disrespect to Ottawa, an inferior opponent. I think that Matthews is going to have a big series, plus 340 for him to score the most goals. Next, Tampa and Florida to go 7. Told Dave before, 6 and 7, both at plus $1.90. The co-favorites for the exact number of games in that series. Just like Dallas and Colorado, I think that this is the series that has the most gas to it. Plus 190 for them to go the distance. Next, going to go to another Game 1 series parlay. And same thing, I'm going to knock that Washington price down heavy because I don't believe they will lose Game 1 on Sunday to Montreal. So minus $1.25 for Washington. They're actually playing Monday night. My apologies there. Washington Game 1 series parlay, minus 125 for that. And I'll go one exacta here. And this one's a little bit of a longer shot one, but I didn't really love anything in this series. I'm not paying a big price with Carolina. I don't know how much I believe in the Devils. I didn't want to play the series spread. I didn't like the number on the series spread. It was pretty chalky too. I mean, look at that, minus 1.5 for that price. I'm going to go Carolina to win in exactly 6. Play it that way. I think the Devils could get a couple of games here. And the exacta, Kings to win 4-2, is plus 350. So that's where I'm going to go for the Eastern Conference with some series props all the way around. So you can kind of decipher there what I like. I think Washington and Carolina are going to win. I think Toronto and Tampa are going to win. I do think it sets up nice for Toronto to get out of this thing, but I don't know if I can trust them. I really don't. So I am going to take Tampa to come out of the Eastern Conference. And on the other side, I thought Colorado for a while. I thought Dallas. I told you I wasn't going to go near Dallas. I think Winnipeg is going to play Vegas in the Western Conference Finals. So Winnipeg versus Vegas in the West Finals. And I actually think Vegas is going to beat them. I'm going to go Vegas versus Tampa in the championship, in the Stanley Cup final round. And I think that Vegas is going to win. I'm taking Vegas to win the Stanley Cup. They've kind of flown under the radar all year. And I think that the draw sets up very nice for them to be able to go the distance here and raise another cup. Great job here. Enjoy all the hockey this weekend. Great job by Tommy. Great job by Dave. We're back with you next week in the middle of the first round. NHL Today on the Grid. See you next week.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, because I think that puts into a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC. That is King Ty Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.